Hi, my name is Justice, but that's not my real name, it's a chosen name. My birth name is Jonathan. Currently, I identify as trans femme, and today I wanted to talk to you about my journey with gender, sexuality, and my youth. Let's start with my kid and preteen years. I started off as a tall, Vietnamese boy, very generic for an Asian kid, bowl cut, thick glasses, and smart in math. I would have also learned piano too, but we didn't have the funds for that. I honestly wish I could say that in my soul, I've always felt like a girl. Like I've always known my body is not my own and that I was extremely dysphoric, but that's not true at all. As a kid, I never really had those sort of troubles. I was comfortable in my assigned sex. I played games, I drank Mountain Dew, I ate Doritos. I was the classic Asian kid stereotype. But somewhere in me, something felt off. I always put a mask on in front of everyone around me. Nobody knew what I was thinking or how I really felt because I didn't know those things about myself. I made myself to be what my family wanted me to be: a smart, successful student who'd be the firstborn to make it into college and graduate. Side note, I even that dream was taken away from me since my mom decided to go to college and graduate herself. Because I was such a people pleaser, I never knew who I was deep down. One day, one day, I remember I was confronted with reality. I discovered my mom and dad having an argument. My dad punched a wall, which was much more controlled than he had been in the past. My mom screamed and cried about him having an affair, and he left. My mom noticed me, stomped over to me, gripped my arm to the point where it changed colors, and told me, "Don't you ever dare become like him." Like him. And that's been stuck in my head ever since. I've never been able to let go of that. From there, I decided to never trust adults ever again, not even my mom. No amount of their abuse and neglect could throw me up the wall anymore. I would change that. I raised myself from there. The internet was my teacher, and I was the one who would put my life together. Soon, my real life became more than a mask to fill, but a fake life I didn't recognize. One that just fulfilled the needs of the people around me, but where I truly was, I was online, on the internet. There I could be exactly who I wanted to be with no consequences, do and say the things I wanted. I heavily got into roleplay of the homosexual community on Facebook. I became well known for my edgy character and OP playstyle. But playing an edgy male character started to lose its interest. Playing a character that always played things straight and serious became monotonous. The same stories would play over and over and over. But instead of making another character, I made a new player. Rather than just play Jonathan playing my characters, I played a whole new identity, named Justice, to play their own characters. And they were everything I wish I ever could have been. This Justice was fun, loving, enjoyable, shy, determined. They understood people, they were cooperative. People loved Justice. Eventually, that female character I played became everything to me. I didn't care about playing Jonathan's characters anymore. I could be sensitive and understanding and loving in a way I'd never experienced, and it changed me. It fulfilled me. Everyone assumed this fictional person, Justice, was a girl. I didn't even realize it happened, but it just seemed to fit right that Justice was a girl. They loved her and got to know her. I got to fulfill a role I'd never thought I'd touch in my life. I wore the mask to the best of my abilities. There were three things I saw online. Soul Eater's Krona, or in high school's host clubs, Haruhi, and as well as seeing another video online at some point by Tom Scott titled Gender Neutral Pronouns. They're here.
Brace
Get
yourself,
used to them.
singular they is spreading very fast. But you didn't even notice when I used it in the very first sentence of this video.
Those things changed my entire perspective. I changed to only using gender-neutral pronouns for everyone from then on. But then, eventually, I decided to continue my story after a year. I killed the character in an effort to emulate how I wanted to die and be remembered. Then I went back to Jonathan's characters. But something changed. I roleplayed much more sensitive and gentle, less edgy and more soft. I was soft. Something that didn't fit everything I had built up. In the end, I couldn't let go of justice, so to save what face I could, I split my character into two separate characters, a male persona and a female persona. The female persona was a shy and considerate person. They didn't speak much, but they became my favorite character to play, something that really brought me together with a person who was turning into my partner at the time. And I got to experience what it was like to act out love as another gender in a way that felt safe, and I could explore without my partner realizing this uncertain feeling bubbling up inside me. After some years, they realized when I asked if they would still love me if I was a girl. We had a messy breakup about a year or two later. In these experiences, I had multiple experiences of suicidal ideation and some attempts. I even witnessed my own mother's suicide attempt. Years have passed now. I'm in my teens nearing the end of high school. I started an IRL relationship from someone in my high school. Every time I looked at them, I felt like I was just going through the motions, like I'd never connected with them and never wanted to open up to them. On a day we were going to get intimate, I couldn't bring myself to. I just didn't have it in me. It all felt wrong. My body didn't respond the way everyone said it would, and I felt shame. We broke up shortly after. I gave up on my IRL life for good. I felt like I was being my father. It was coming true. Something changed with my online presence, though. I took on the name Dara, and acted like my given name was Justice, and I never used my voice to talk. I roleplayed in a game called Starbound for a year, became an admin of a popular server, and was seen as a strong-willed and headstrong woman. Everyone respected me. I joined a Discord known as Paradise Bound, a popular BDSM-friendly community. I was seen as a formal maid of everything in the Discord, who was intimidating but always right with my points. Everything I said made sense. There I could safely explore my sexuality with people that were familiar with the concepts. I looked at all the popular terminology at the time and found that physical attraction didn't mean that much to me. I mean, I was still assigned male at birth and could still receive sexual attraction, but for me to love someone, physicality I didn't care that much about. The person I actually learned to love was online, so I decided I was pansexual. I cared more about personality and connection than physical intimacy. Everyone was really accepting of me there. I tried to keep up a pretty wholesome persona, but then that's kind of where my awakening happened, shall we say. I ERP'd with a lot of people of all genders. I signed up for FetLife as a crossdresser. I stole my sister's clothes and took pictures of myself, angling things just right while wearing a wig to be seen as a perfect woman. I manipulated people with my own body. I saw that sexual awakening of me as a way to free myself and love my body and shape. all the teasing of people and the misleading and catfishing, it ended nowhere because by the time in real life, I was still playing the role of a man. I got into college, and my sexual escapades stopped. I didn't care anymore. I was once again masking to fill a role. I was male. There was no concern. I had no outlets anymore for me to express another gender. Until I saw a clip of a streamer named Pokelaws getting cockblocked in VRChat.
They literally are. It's so funny to be able to toss stuff like this and it weighs nothing.
Realism, my
Yeah, I don't know if VR can simulate weight and physics.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Once I saw the clip, I knew I had to get into the action. I joined VRChat shortly after. I found a group known as the Acoustic Headquarters who took me in. I was one of their token mute females to them. We often trolled around causing chaos, and they kept flirting with me randomly. I didn't know how I felt about the situation. The group died, and I started a group with some other guys known as Circuitry. These guys were kind and soft and easy to talk to. They weren't trolls, and I fell in love with one of the original members. We dated for a few months until I had to reveal to him my voice. He told me it was okay, and after thinking about it, he still loved me. But it didn't last long, as eventually he stopped talking to me and broke up with me. Once again, I felt shame for the body I was born in. So I decided I would be upfront from now on. Instead of hiding it, instead of catfishing, instead of doing it, I would be upfront with the people who were interested in me. I spiraled hard, but was saved by another group member that we picked up. They described themselves as hypersexual, but they were kind and deep, and it was easy for me to connect with them. I told them right away about my gender, and they didn't care. They were also pansexual just like me. We eventually started dating, and it was some of the happiest time in my life, being accepted by someone who didn't judge me for my body. I even revealed my voice to them and the whole group. Now everyone knows. And I figured out a good way to describe my gender. Gender fluid. I existed as a male in real life and female in my online life. And I have maintained these separation for such a long time that I've always lived both genders. Both worked, and I was just non-binary. But I'd been hating seeing myself in the mirrors because it only reminded me that I was assigned as a male at birth. Things went well with them until their hypersexuality started popping up. You see, they couldn't imagine being sexual with me, and it broke their mind, causing us to break up. I held on as long as I could until I suffered such a strong mental snap that I couldn't communicate anymore. In my woes and all the drama, I led that group's circuitry to its destruction. Once again, I was alone, and ashamed of my gender and my sexuality, and I decided after months of despair and being on the verge of suicide to put myself into therapy. I got health insurance to ensure it was just for me, that my parents could not be involved in this whatsoever, and for several weeks I had a therapist I worked closely with, and then my mom came out of nowhere and ripped everything away from me. The only thing that I could do to help try and figure myself out, she took away from me. I joined a VR chat group known as VRFam. I ended up being instrumental in helping VRFam destroy itself and rebrand as Horizon. I met a new partner there, and after several months, they went out of their way to drive over and meet me. We actually met in person. We hung out and enjoyed the whole day together. We tried to get intimate and failed once again, but they seemed okay. They seemed happy with me. And then, after that, they ghosted me and left me for good. Once again, I felt ashamed of my gender and sexuality. I kept failing them over and over, relationship after relationship. I tried to be honest with my gender. I tried to tell them about my sexual stipulations. I tried to learn more from all my mistakes, but I kept failing again and again and again, being more and more ashamed of myself. After a particularly bad group destruction, I socially isolated myself for a year and a half. No contact with anybody, only just living my real life. And while COVID made it difficult, starting graduate school helped distract me a lot. I didn't have any friends to maintain or any relationships. I forgot how to talk to people. I completely grew out my hair. I came back 2 years ago from the present. I have found people accepting me and my gender. Those going out of their way to respect my pronouns and who I am. I started working with a therapist again and figured out that I should bring myself from the online life into my real life. I'm a teacher now, and I have students refer to me as Mix. I got a doctor that prescribed me estrogen, and I began a journey of feminization. I started to like to see myself in the mirror after about a year. But in the end, I don't know if I'm a proper trans person. My story doesn't fit in with classical trans literature stories. I never knew I was a girl all along, or that I felt like I was in the wrong body. I never had any of those struggles. But as Azalea once said, who kind of inspired this whole thing, what I do know is that when someone uses my preferred pronouns, I feel sparkly inside. I've never experienced gender euphoria, and I don't think I will, though. Only around a month ago, I started calling myself a trans woman. But I'm scared to call myself trans because I haven't struggled as much as everyone else. But in the end, I can't shake this feeling that I feel gross being seen as masculine. It may be easier to stick with a femme-leaning NB shtick, but the chance of being seen as masc hurts. I feel like I'm a trans woman. I hate seeing my body, but I don't. I don't know. I wish it was easier to say, I'm trans, or I'm not trans. But it makes me really happy when my gender is expressed, when people believe me, and when people support me. So, I guess that's it for now. That was my journey so far. Thank you.